Ah, yes, to the people. He who overcomes, I will make him ruler over all the earth, over all the nations. You people have no religion. You're just pure evil, aren't you? Here's a little something I've written for you, to the people. Dear people, after thinking about what has happened and what is occurring, perhaps I could shed some light on how my belief in love, world peace, justice, and God, not religion, affects our system of law, such as people drugging and beating a businessman and a human being to steal his home, business, and intellectual property to feed and fuel the world, only to take the avenue of war against such countries as Iraq, Egypt, Syria, Libya, Spain, Greece, Germany, and Afghanistan. Countries opposed to one specific belief or doctrine, countries that I have absolutely nothing against. In fact, how does anyone's religious beliefs give them the right to withhold or fabricate evidence in a court of law, with the sinister objective to prevent world peace and to abuse one man, only to exercise evil doings while hiding behind propaganda of good nature? Will not only I, but millions suffer a religious reign of terror? Now that is division of the people by deception. Dear people, I did everything right, although I was being poisoned by co-workers, and with hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity and pensions, I offered 90% of ethanol 1 to the world and left 10% to my family, not thinking I was going to make it back in 2009. Well, considering my current situation, one can only assume that evil decided to take everything, even my life. Although I keep my good faith in God, evil is everywhere, on earth, and apparently controls every facet of society, it would appear, unfortunately. Quite simply, it would take books to explain the religious side of things. However, I hope we can bring the innocence of Ethanol 1 and myself public before it is too late, as I've hired 10 lawyers forced on me by the very government I sued for interfering with my home and business, my capital, and my intellectual property. All of these lawyers slandered me and attempted to take power of attorney, in which this crown, the queen, and court have been fully aware of the circumstances and engaged fully in criminal persecuting me while hiding behind religion. Dear people, my name is Neil Barras. I am the owner and inventor of Ethanol 1 Formulated Products Incorporated, which has been stolen while I have been drugged, poisoned, beaten, and robbed by police officers, government officials, governments, religions, groups and secret societies, banks, unions, corporations, and people simply abusing their authority and power, setting stage for criminal charges under extortion by libel, blasphemous libel, conspiracy to prosecute, robbery with firearms, interfering with public markets, assault, and extortion, to name a few, not to mention attempted murder. I was contacted by a new and 10th lawyer, and I've now been released from prison. However, the malicious prosecution continues against me, while my home and business has been taken, and nothing has been done about it. My current and near all of my legal defense has been maliciously coordinated by the very government that I sued, under QB Action Number 1003-17146, which was thrown out by corrupt judges while the defendants criminally intervened having me imprisoned and evidence destroyed by abuse of power and proceedings. Currently, there is still one malicious criminal case proceeding against me, in which the defendants of QB Action number 1003-17146 are engaged in criminal activity through law societies, Freemasonry, media, abuse of power, and legal proceedings for control and theft of internationally filed fuel production patent applications, PCT /2010/000584 and WO /2010/144991, in which I am told by the terrorists who helped steal these patents that there is nothing to protect me or my patents from them, who seem to be engaged financially by other religious groups. Now, as major corporations and banks owned by people enjoy at least 2 of my patent applications, I have been held in prison for years after solving the fuel crisis and the employment crisis. I am knowing now that I face perhaps the rest of my life in prison for telling the truth. And no one even cares to take my statement, while these evil people pursue to destroy me, physically and mentally. Signed, Undefended. And where's the Queen of England's position on this? Well, let me show you. As I said, pink represents release. It doesn't get any pinker than this sheet of paper. And I am bound by the Queen of England on false charges, which have now been reduced to summarily and summary convictions, which for years pursued as indictment. However, I am bound by at least a dozen conditions, which looks more like murder than pulling my wife's purse off her arm to pay the hydro bill while on a prescription of Nexium that was fed to me by a corporation that I sued. Anyways, very unfortunate what my leaders have done to me.